I'm Dr. Regina Oyarce. Let's have a gut talk. So I wanted to welcome everyone here for our first event, Gut Talk. I'm Dr. Regina Oyarce. I am a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, and I do acupuncture, I use herbs, I use supplements, all to help with health and achieve health. First, I wanted to say, did you know that's what in your gut affects how you think and feel? I would imagine by this time, most of you already know that information, right? That's why you're all here. It's like, I don't feel well, there's something off, something that I need to improve on. So there are strong evidence and studies that establish a link between gut microbes and mental disorders. That's including anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's. There are also several studies supporting a strong link between many chronic metabolic disease and gut health. So what are chronic metabolic disease? It's what we see nowadays: high cholesterol, high sugar level or diabetes, right? And high blood pressure. So it's very common that I get a patient here to say, well, I have high blood pressure, I'm suffering with high cholesterol, and now my sugar is going up, right? So then we needed to see what's the root problem. As a Chinese practitioner, I'm always looking to see and find out what's the root problem that this body is not working well. So before we get started, I would like to go over some definitions. There are some terms that you may have heard, and I'll be using these terms throughout the presentation. So the first one is gut. We're referring to our bowels or our intestines. Gut microbiome. So this is a complex ecosystem of bacteria, virus, fungus, archaea, and bacteriophages that play a deep role across many body systems. This gut microbiome has been called the conductor of immune neuroendocrine system, home of the immune system, and even our second brain. So when we talk about our endocrine system, right? So those are our hormones. How many women are having problem with hormones, or even men, right? I have men at the older age and they're having testosterone supplements, or even for females. Our immune system. So if you want to avoid to get sick, or now we're talking a lot of autoimmune disease, we have to look at our gut health. That's the beginning, that's the starting. We have to do that. We live in a society that now we have friends that are depressed, they're feeling bad, and how we can help them. We needed to look how they're eating, what's their gut health. That would affect the way they feel, and that's an important thing for us to look at. People ask me, what's the difference between probiotics and then prebiotics? So probiotics are the good bacteria. I think most of you have heard that before. And then the prebiotics are the food for the good bacteria. So if you want to feed those bacteria and want them to multiply and start doing good, you want to give them food. And then dysbiosis is commonly defined as an alteration in our microbial pattern. It's usually in quantities. So now you may be wondering, why does that matter? Why is our microbiome important? So just to start, the human body contains over 10 times more microbial cells than human cells. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that I have more bugs in me than my own cells? Yes. So you are more bug than human, okay? This is very important for you to understand, and this is why you're here. Because you needed to learn how to manage this madness. So we have on us 10 times more microbial cells. I'm going to repeat it because that's important for you to understand, than human cells. So the microorganism in our body weighs between 2 to 6 pounds, making it even heavier than your own brain. I see a lot of people going, wow, right? And that's wow. So let's understand that a little bit more. So we're covered with microbes, with the gut being the richest source, but they are in other places. They're everywhere. We have on our eyes, our mouth, our nose, our skin, right? And we females in our vagina. Beginning at birth, right? And that's why a lot of people say, oh, the importance of natural delivery, right? That's how always started. So when the baby goes to the birth canal, they'll receive all the flora, all those microbes from the mom. And that is where the process begins. That's why there's a lot of people say, oh, when there's a natural delivery, they have stronger immune system, right? Because the mom is passing all of that through the baby. So continue a little bit. Today I'm going to go over some areas, right, that you see that our microbiome, our gut microbiome plays a critical role. And that's in our digestion and our ability to absorb nutrients. The second part is our immune system. How do we avoid to get sick? Our hormone balance, our cognitive function and mood. So how can we think, we can feel, and also skin appearance. So a lot of time when we have skin issues, we also have to go and treat the gut. First, how can things go wrong? How can we have a dysbiosis? Well, we can just simply have insufficiency. The second one is bacterial overgrowth. So that's in functional medicine. SIBO means small intestine bacterial overgrowth. That's a bad thing, right? You don't want to have that because you have an unbalanced flora. So hypersensitivity or allergic dysbiosis. This is when we are talking about some food that we react to. That will throw off the balance of our gut. That will create a dysbiosis. Then we talk about amoebas, cysts, protozoa. Those are the parasites. This is another side that for us living in Miami, it's important. Why? Because we have a lot of people that travel to South America, or we go to South America, where the food supply is not as clean or pasteurized as we have here in the US. So there's a lot of parasites. If we share bathrooms, we use public bathrooms, we are all the time getting all of that. So I think it's important to maintain and clean, like do cleansing protocols for parasites if we live in Miami. So, and then metabolic dysbiosis, microbes and your digestion. So the microorganisms living in your gut help you extract many nutrients you wouldn't otherwise be able to obtain from your food. So they will digest the food, use the food to create health boosting byproducts like short chain fatty acids. I want to explain this a little bit. I'm going to stop here 1 second. So when we eat something, right, we have to break it down so we can absorb. And we don't do that by ourselves. We count on them to do that for us. So the food that we eat has to be fermented, break it down, and they have that function to help us. They're there for a good reason, to help us break it down, this food, so we can absorb those nutrients, right? They also create short chain fatty acids. That's very important for our health. They are messengers that we need. Neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are the ones that send messages to our brain to function, to receive. We need neurotransmitter to send messages back and forth, right? And then synthesize vitamins and then create essential nutrients. So all of those microbes, they're crucial. We need them in order to break it down. Everything we eat into tiny little pieces. They also make byproducts, like they turn something into something else. So now for those of you that came here, or if you are new here and you don't know me yet, I have the tendency to say, let me see your tongue, right? I like to see and ask, how's your tongue? Because your tongue tells me something. So this tongue here has a white coating over it. So the white coating over it, most of the time, is bad digestive system. Is a candida overgrowth, is a sign that your digestive system is off. And then people say, oh, I brush my tongue, and then it's good. No, it's not good, because that will come right back up. So the best way for you to self-test yourself is in the morning when you get up, how does your tongue look before you actually brush it? Is it clean, or it has like a white coating over it? And then on the other side, I just put like a clean tongue, so just so you have an idea. It has to be rosy, like a baby. They have a nice rosy tongue, and they won't have any thick coating over it. So now your immune system, right? I said the other thing, so it affects your digestion and also affects your immune system. So our immune system, the gut microbe teaches your immune system the difference between friend and foe, making an integral part of how well it functions. So your gut is the home of 70 to 80%. I think that's another key that you guys need to understand at this point, right? So now this here is that how do I avoid to get sick? How important is my gut? Well, if you want to have a healthy immune system, you need to take care of your gut health, because a lot of that process happens in there, right? So an imbalance in gut microbiome, also I used the term before, dysbiosis, right? Can contribute to increased permeability in the gut lining, which is more commonly called leaky gut. So I think a lot of you have heard this term so far because it's now trending. Leaky gut. We're gonna talk about that as well. What is leaky gut? So when there is gaps in between the gut lining, toxins, bacteria, and food can actually leak through and go through your system. I have a little slide here. So right here, you have your blood vessels and your lymphatic system. In here, right, on your gut, you have the lining, I guess the proper word would be the lining, that they are all attached to each other. And they open slightly so absorption of nutrients can happen. So they're very tight to one another and they're very selective. Only the good guys can pass, only vitamins, only nutrients. They don't let anybody pass. They're there for a purpose. The same exactly thing happens in our brain, right? So just pay attention that we have a brain-blood barrier to protect us against bad stuff. So if this system is compromised, meaning there is too much inflammation, our system no longer can do that effective. And that's what is called leaky gut. So when there is inflammation, those cells, they kind of open up too much. Things that are not meant to go through to pass, you will pass. And then what happened to your immune system? Is this a good guy or a bad guy? A food of, I'm gonna exaggerate it, but just a little piece of steak went through. It wasn't supposed to be going through. Your immune system will put a little sign, it will flag and says that's a bad guy. So then your whole immune system will launch a cascade of going crazy, invasion. So then they have to control that man. What happened? You inflame overall. And then maybe once or twice your body managed that madness well. But that keeps on happening and happening and happening. So then all of a sudden your immune goes, whoa, can no longer know who is good, who is bad. What do we have then? Autoimmune problems. What do we see nowadays? A lot. And that's the root. So what is the root cause of an autoimmune condition? Your immune system went crazy. It starts attacking itself because it was going crazy. Imagine, okay, let's use an example because this is an important thing I want you guys to understand. We have our army fighting abroad. All of a sudden, they got attacked once. Well, they're already a little overwhelmed. They destroyed part of the army. Then they got attacked twice and then 3 times. And then what they start doing? Shooting everyone. They no longer know. Everybody, if it's a bad guy approaching or a good guy, but they don't know the guy, they were gonna shoot. They need to get rid of the problem. Something similar happened to our immune system when we have a situation like that. So then, when we talk about dysfunctions of the immune system, we need to look into gut health. Several diseases have been associated with gut microbiota dysbiosis and intestinal barrier dysfunction. Those include allergies, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, diabetes, and multiple autoimmune diseases. So this is just one of them. I just pulled one, but if you go and you do that little search, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of research which talks about this link of chronic metabolic disease or autoimmune disease and gut issues. So if we have that, or if we know somebody that is suffering with an autoimmune disease, a good start is gut health, right? We need to look into how to fix the gut. Now, a little bit about mental health. For those butterflies you feel in the pit of the stomach when you're nervous, right? Or sometimes people say, well, I decide on that. because my gut told me. That's my gut feeling. That's the right thing to do. Well, you are into something. There's more than a sensation. It's your gut communicating directly to your brain. The gut-brain connection is constantly and even has its own designated line of communication. The vagus nerve, in fact, the biggest producer of your happy neurotransmitter, serotonin. So the gut manufactures about 80% of the body serotonin and neurotransmitters of your brain that contribute to happiness and well-being. Remember in the beginning I said, well, if people are suffering, we have a society, they're suffering from depression, from anxiety, so many emotional issues. We need to look into gut health because they cannot be happy, because if they can't produce the hormone, they need to be happy. Sometimes when people tell me, you know, I have like brain fog, I can't think straight because they're having gut issues. If they are just eating carbs, sugars, they might have a little rush of energy, but right after they'll feel like, I'm drained. So now skin. So beauty truly starts from the inside out. So the gut microbiome plays a direct role on appearance of your skin through influencing inflammation, right? By now we understand that things can go wrong on the gut. You can have a systemic inflammation, so your skin will be inflamed, right? Okay, let's recap. There's a lot of information, right? So the gut microbiome plays an integral role in nearly every aspect of your health. If there's the one thing you need to know is your gut is crucial for everything. If you want it to be healthy, you need to start on your gut. So the 5R approach is remove, replace, reinoculate, repair, rebalance. So remove stressors from your diet. What are stressors on your diet? We talk about food mainly that will create you trouble. So what I think is the best 30 days, we're gonna take out things that create inflammation, which is basically removing everything bad. Then we repair the gut. Kind of like you clean the house and then you put your furniture around so it looks pretty. The same thing. We're gonna clean the gut first, get rid of the bad guys, and get rid of the food that creates inflammation. For 30 days, very strict. So 30 days, let's focus on removing the bad stuff and cleaning your system. For everybody is different, but I'm gonna share some of the foods that are well known to create inflammation on your body. Number one, dairy we cannot digest well, right? Avoid gluten on the dairy. We cannot digest it. It creates inflammation. It's like a glue to our intestines, so it sticks to it. And then we're gonna share a few more of foods that create inflammation. I put it down the gluten, lectins, sugar. Oh, sugar is another bad one, right? People love sugar and sweets and they crave it. And why? Who is telling them to crave sugar? Our gut bacteria is telling us. That's the right answer, yes. So they control our desires for food. So if you're having all these cravings, it's not our brain telling us, but it's our bug saying, feed me sugar. So Dr. Gundry, he's actually a cardiologist, right? And then at point of his career, he said he was vegetarian and then he was doing everything that he could, but he was having the same problems. He was having high blood pressure, allergies, he was feeling really sick. And then he studied and bases his studying a lot in leptins, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about leptins too. It's one of the components of that I'm suggesting as an anti-inflammatory diet. If you are suffering or if you feel you have inflammation in your gut and you wanna make a change, you have to take some things out of your diet first to give that gut an opportunity to heal. It doesn't mean forever. Maybe later on when your immune system is not woohoo crazy, bring it down, right? If you bring it down, then you see a lot of improvements. So right now, today, maybe we can pass out some kombucha for those that want. I have kombucha in the back, which is an example of something that you can add in your diet. So I'll cover that a little bit. Fermented food, kombucha is a fermented beverage, right? You can make it at home. It's a little bit of work. I don't make it myself, but I occasionally get them. Sauerkraut is another example example, those are part maybe of the German roots, Russian and Chinese, is fermented cabbage. Then miso, it's created by fermenting soybeans, brown rice with koji, a type of Japanese fungus, and then the apple cider vinegar that contains the mother. These supplements that would be good in the first stage, and also maybe some of you might be wondering for how long. I would say at least like a month in this first step, because less than that is not enough. And you won't be able to accomplish what you need, and then diet and then cleansing system. So combined fatty acid therapy, that's your essential fatty acids, right? And then multivitamin, vitamin D, and then your prebiotics, probiotics. 2, we're gonna go to dysbiosis treatment. So how we can, yes, yes.
I saw that you said vitamin D3.
Vitamin D, it's called D3, yeah, but it's vitamin D. That's the official name, I guess. In this one here, they did, so in parasites with this emulsified oregano oil, I have the oil here. So this is the ADP product from a company called Biotics. It's like my #1 seller here, I think, but it works really well. For example, they come for allergy problems. They have an imbalanced gut, I know that, right? So we recommend this. It will feel better from their allergies, right? From the stuffiness, nasal allergies. Yeah, she's using her, she's like, I had that, it went away. Oregano oil has to be buffered. It irritates the upper GI. So if you buy an oregano oil, you have to make sure that it is buffered. It's not in oil format, because if you take an oil format, you burn all your digestive system, okay? So side note, it has to be buffered. And then the other one is talking about berberine. So berberine has been used a lot for people with diabetes because it just significantly controls that. Once you did that first step, which I said about 30 days, right? Once you've been cleaning your system for 30 days, removing all the things that creates inflammation that will aggravate the system, and then eating and having supplements, eating well, having supplements and things that will kill the bad guys, right? The bad flora, balance the flora. We're gonna repair it. I mentioned in the beginning, I'm an acupuncturist and I practice traditional Chinese medicine. So I also, when patients come to me, I will treat to help for gut health. There is specific points, and then maybe I'll teach one of them, which I like, which is a point right here by your hands. So there's a LI4, large intestine 4, right? And if you find a little TENS, which a lot of people have that, that's a point good for many things, but it's a point that belongs to the intestine, will help for intestinal health. It also helps move the energy, helps for headaches. It's a lot of health benefits. So the IBS has to do a lot of emotions. We know there's a connection between our emotional system, our mind, our gut, and our stomach. So if you are constantly stressed out, those stressors can affect your gut, your digestion, and that's also has to be managed. So we treat other conditions like gastritis, colitis, gas, bloating. Acupuncture is good to calm the mind, it just relax you. Okay, it was a pleasure to have you all. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube channel. We have a lot more to share with you.